All right, good morning. Welcome, everybody. It's Friday. The coffee is hot. Um, I I didn't get any of the videos I wanted to do yesterday done, so will start off with an apology, but not my fault. We had literally about 5 minutes after the live stream yesterday, the power went out. They were doing some work. Hydro was doing some work across the street, replacing a transformer or something, and it was out for the whole day. So I was playing catch up, and I didn't get a chance to film videos. So I have such a backlog of videos. As people roll in here, I have a backlog of dividend video now, update video, and then we have a live stream tomorrow, which is the special live stream with Candace. And I know Candace is here. Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in on Friday. And good morning to Brian is here. Zach is here. And Stan. Good morning. Welcome, everybody. So if anybody's watching this on the replay, as a lot of people I've been discovering do, if you want to catch it live, we go Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific time to about 8:45. So go about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how things go. Get our day started, have a coffee, talk about the market, talk about investing, and wherever else the conversation takes us on the day. And good morning, MC. Always good to have you, everybody. It's always good. So in regards to the channel, yeah, I am way behind, and just sometimes that happens. So I'll get caught up over the weekend at some point. Try to. The weather here is we're expecting another snow, so I'll be probably at home all the time. So I won't. It'll be easy to finally catch up, because I've been slacking. So, but basically, have a few articles today. Market not looking too great today, but I guess you take what you want from the news, because we're seeing still gains in employment. So what we're talking about there is employment, still gains in employment. So we're kind of talking now. We're shifting from 2 days ago. We're shifting to slowdown of rates, and 2 days later, a day and a half later, we're switching to jobs are still good. Jobs are good in the States. Unemployment's low, so we have to probably raise rates more. So I think we're seeing it. That's a good. So we'll see what happens with the market today. Today we've been doing okay. I think this for the most part. We'll see if the Santa rally can carry on. I don't know. It's always like we have these days where things are in the red, and we think it's all ending, and then we'll get one day that causes us to have a bit of exuberance, then we're going to the moon. But that's just how it works. And that's a great question from Average Finance here. And good morning, MC. What is does the name stand for margin call? I don't know that. Maybe MC will answer. I always assumed it was initials, but could be completely wrong. Maybe it's margin call, or maybe something else. But that's good. So few articles pick up, as I just kind of talked about. Let me just share the screen here, and we'll get right into it on a Friday. Let's start with Canada. I like that. More cash. Let's go with more cash, because everybody. That's a good one. Yeah, mountains of cash. So let's pull this one up first. That's good. Job market. Another gain in November. It wasn't a ton though. It was added 10,000 jobs in November for Canada. Slightly, but again, the month prior was 108,000. This came out today, and the gain is mostly full-time positions. So that's a good thing, I guess. Sectors: finance, real estate, and Mac. So sectors that rose were finance, real estate, and manufacturing. Real estate I find interesting, because the market, obviously, it's with interest rates and everything, it seems like it's slowing down, but maybe other sectors of it are doing okay. I don't know. But it fell in construction and trade. Unemployment rate ticked a bit lower, 5.1%, as the labor force participation edged down. So unemployment is going down. So it's kind of like, I think we're looking for more rate hikes, but everybody's kind of on the fence. We'll see how, obviously, leave your opinions on it, but the expectation is 25 basis points, but maybe we'll see a bit more. I don't know on that. It's always hard to predict these things, but I think we're maybe starting to see. We've been talking for a bit, hopefully a little bit of slowdown, but I think it's for sure we'll get something next on December 7th. Whether it's 25 basis points or 50 basis points, I guess we'll know soon enough. We'll know soon enough on that one. And then much to the States. Let me pull up the States. Did I save the States? I didn't save the States. Hold on here. There it is. Let's share. Oops, that's the wrong one. Let's get the States up. There we go. Finally, U.S. hiring, strong gains. So again, keeping pressure on down in the States on the Fed for rates. They were up. It added more jobs than forecast. Non-farm payrolls increased 263,000 in November. So up again there. Unemployment rate is really low in the States. It looks like unemployment at 3.7%, which is lower than Canada. So I think they're obviously talking rates increasing kind of across the board, and that's what we're seeing. That's the news for this morning. There's lots of jobs out there. I guess if you look, you drive down. I mean, again, I think what's happening is a lot of, good morning, Nadia, and Abigail's here. Welcome. Always good to see you popping in. I guess lots of jobs out there, which is not slowing things down. But I think if we look at demographics, we can kind of talk, maybe if you want to talk about that a little bit, but it seems to be like a lot of, probably still, this kind of started 2020 when everything, was shut down and everything else. I know a lot of boomers, we call, baby boomers that were still working, decided to retire where they would normally keep working. And I think maybe people are just, a lot of places, people are just deciding to possibly, I guess, to retire. But and it says having a hard time filling these positions. So with jobs, and I guess are we going to go with, okay, I think we go with more cash. We'll try and do that. That's so funny. Good call. Yeah. So lots of jobs. I did have an article on, one second, I can pull that up. It did have, it broke down unemployment rates by Canadian city, but in average, it's steady for November, Canada, 5.1%. Basically, so been holding steady. More cash. I keep looking at that and laughing. So we'll see what happens. No plans. I mean, for me, I don't know if anybody. I guess I know I had a few comments on the channel yesterday because we were talking about banks. Yesterday was the big topic of discussion, and a few people are picked up CIBC on well, they call it on a special, and it's so might be time to kind of add. We'll see if other people have added more coming up, because I think CIBC took kind of a hit yesterday, and it was who was that left a comment? I can look here. It was I think it was Rod, if I remember correctly. It was Rod. He bought CIBC yesterday. That was the one that came through. Yeah. I haven't bought anything. No plans yet. there'll be some dividends rolling through, kind of because it is a new month. So that's nice. We'll reinvest those, and that's kind of the plan. The 300 the 100 share purchase, the 100 share purchase is kind of I need more cash. We'll put it that way, for going for the minutes. But that's good. It's exactly. It's like good news is bad news. Like how does that work? But I guess that's how it. That's usually more jobs is a good thing, but I guess not today, unfortunately, or fortunate. I mean, yeah, it goes both ways, right? You never want to hear of people mass layoffs and job losses and everything else, but it's interesting how it has the opposite effect of what the market would want to do, right? Yeah, they are. See, I think CIBC is down. What did I read? Let me see here. Quite a bit. And the ticker symbol for CIBC, it doesn't make any sense. It's CM. It should be CIBC, but that's a whole other story. Like I think in the year to date, it's down like what 25-ish, 30%. And good question. Oh, Sam, Rob. Rob. Yeah, okay, Rob. You're Rob. Wants to know how much money did I lose from Sam Bankman fraud. This is zero. I did not have any. I did not have any funds on FTX. I don't know if they were in. I don't actually know if they were actually in Canada. I'd have to look at that, but zero. But a lot of people did. He's been doing some interviews. I've been watching a few interviews on YouTube with that whole FTX thing. Pretty crazy. A lot of people lost a lot of money. Yeah, I think you're right. I think I saw 20. It was like. Let me pull up. I think I can find it on. I can find it on Google Finance. Shows year to date. And let's pull this up for MC. Yahoo Finance doesn't show you the year to date percentages, but if you actually go to Google Finance, it will. Let's pull that up. So you're year to date 20%. So you're right in the middle. There we go. So year to date down 20.84% for CIBC. Yeah. So it might be if we go 1 year down 13. Yeah. Mostly down in the last kind of 6 months, it looks like, but there we go. Everything it's in everything though. It's like everything is down, but nothing's been excuse me, nothing's been saved. It doesn't seem like. I guess the secret is just a dollar cost average into positions and stocks and ETFs that you want to invest in. I think that's been the saving grace for people that have stayed in the market, to be able to just dollar cost average. It really makes sense. I see it especially in I have the Wealthsimple invest side, and I do have an RSP there that I do regular. Every 2 weeks I do a deposit into my RSP, and I've noticed a good uptrend with dollar cost averaging. It's really starting to. It really takes out that. That's for sure. And Shopify, yeah, I think I could be wrong, but I think Candace bought some more Shopify a while ago too when it was down, but it has done really well. I remember talking about how I'm not a big fan of it, but it went. Then of course it goes up. So I probably shouldn't have. Then it wouldn't have been up for everybody else. But it's it's picking up again for sure. And looking at all the stats from Black Friday and Cyber Monday, it's like all the sales. It's definitely seems to be definitely picking up what for online sales that Shopify uses, for businesses. Oh, and Candace, there we go. I did sold it once once it pumped. Makes sense. Take your money and run. I have to get better at that for certain things. It's nothing wrong with taking, closing off windows here as we go. Nothing wrong with taking off some money off the table and putting it into something that you're wanting to hold more long term. That's something I'll get wanting to get better at. Obviously, if and when things go up, for some of my shares that I hold, for sure. I don't want to have any, I'm not married to, try not to be married to really any of them. I don't think, in terms of sticking to things. You learn that. Cineplex was mine. Did okay. Made a bit on that. Not huge. I didn't have a huge amount, but that kind of came up a little bit, and then put it in something else, which is good. For me, it's just mostly focusing on, I think, going forward on it says the core. I think more cash. MC says that the core kind of S&P and my VDY, the S&P and the Canadian VDY as well, and that's going to be my focus kind of for the year going forward, to try and build up. Especially, I think I'm leaning towards. I think, is Zach watching? Maybe not still, but we were talking about what to start an automatic deposit in. So in the new year, I think I'm going to do VDY and do the weekly deposit on that, just to keep it consistent in dollar cost average in that as I build through, and then slowly add to other things when I can. That's kind of my goal for the new year. And then any dividends that come in, roll them back into the same stocks to kind of build it up, and top up when I can if I have any extra cash. But we'll start to do the 50 bucks. Yeah, you're not alone on that one. So a lot of people have XEQT. That's the popular one. That was kind of one of the choices. I mean, I guess to really diversify, that'd be one way to maybe look at it. I do like the dividends coming through on VDY though. So it's kind of like the monthly dividends as I'm building my portfolio. Well, I think I kind of like, that's my bit of my reasoning. Yeah, I have to look at that a bit more and decide. There's nothing wrong I'll make some changes. Like for me, I'll make some changes because I talked about it before with my car almost paid off in 2 months now. So I'll make some changes then, because I'm going to have that extra money that I'm going to try and really hammer down and invest instead of just keeping it on the side. Because it's kind of it's not free money, but I've been paying for it for so long. I'm used to it disappearing. So I'm going to try and put that into something, but I'll put it into something that's more probably, more diversified and a bit more like safer, I guess would be the best call. Kind of build that up in the portfolio. That's my goal. And MC, what do you do? So do you do weekly? I guess would be a good question. Do you do every week into those ones? Like, I guess everybody for dollar cost averaging. Like, is it like a weekly thing, payday? If you get paid every 2 weeks, do you do a payday that way? Or does like monthly? Some people I know do monthly, bi-weekly. I'd be interested to hear that, what everybody kind of does, and what their one, do they have one that is right? The really only thing I have set up for consistent dollar cost averaging right now is my RSP. That's comes on paydays that I do every 2 weeks. But it's nice to see one thing you notice as you do like dollar cost average. It's nice to look. It's nice to see it. You do see it grow. Which is awesome. It's nice to look at, and then more dividends every month. It's nice to get those. It's nice to get those notices. Like you got money in your account. Excuse me. And another one I want to add to, I said it before too, is Tesla, is a bit more Tesla in the CDR. But I'll get to MC's comment before we talk a little bit about Tesla, because they announced their semi truck last night. I watched a bit of that. 3-year pension. Okay, lucky. Got it. Yeah. So similar to BEQT from BlackRock, similar asset allocation to BEQT. In my personal accounts, about 90% BEQT and 10% individual equity. Good to know. It's always kind of interesting to see what other people have, right? Everybody's so different there's a lot of overlap with certain things, but then everybody, I'll leave that up for a bit longer so people can see, but everybody kind of has their own portfolio, right? And there are a lot of them, there's overlap, but but there's some similarities and some differences and that kind of stuff with what everybody is into investing. I find that really interesting. I do enjoy kind of checking out other people's videos and things that they buy and they're invested in. It's always kind of interesting in different people's takes. There's a lot of on that note, there's a lot of channels. Obviously, if you're watching this, there's a lot of channels on YouTube with other different investors that have different styles and different risk tolerances and amounts and everything. You don't really need to pay so much attention to the amount. Obviously, everybody wants to grow their portfolio. A lot of people have more than I do. Some people have less than I do. It's not the amount necessarily that makes a difference. I think it's just the process that's fun to learn and to see what other people are into with their investing. And then you see some similarities and you're like, okay, I'm not that far. I'm not that, I'm doing something right. That's what you kind of can see, which is handy with a lot of the YouTube channels that are out there, especially the Canadian ones. I find the Canadian ones are a bit more down to earth for the most part, and less like sensationalized than a lot of the Vic brought it up a few days ago about like sensationalized, clickbaity kind of pump up everything. That seems to be more in the States, or creators from the States. And so MC, more cash, is used to be 100% individual equities for the last 15 years or so, but have switched mostly to broad base. So ETFs now that I'm winding down a bit. Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. I think, I've been happy with that strategy on the invest side with Wealthsimple. Not to plug Wealthsimple by any means. There's obviously, you can find the similar ETFs or portfolios that probably every bank would have something similar, right? Offer the same features. But I've been happy with it. Yeah, it just kind of, it takes a lot of the emotion out of it, or more of the emotion in terms of having to decide what to buy, because you just a lot of X amount, $100, whatever the amount is, and it does it for you, right? After you've set up what you decided you wanted to go into, especially if some of these XEQTs, like ETF of I don't know how many individual shares are actually in that. I think we've looked, but there's a lot. So you're like instantly diversified, and it doesn't have to do a lot of I don't want to say forget about it, but it's not as much working on it to keep it up, to maintain. So it's a good way to kind of set it and forget it a little bit, I guess would be the best way to kind of describe that. With a small portfolio, individual stocks provide a lot of more up or downs, right? We do see that, right? I can see that in my portfolio. It does require due diligence. It can be, but it's the thing. I noticed with mine. Obviously, I'm in some I'm in some more risky stuff. Cielo aside, with crypto, with Bitcoin, the Bitcoin yield ETF, that kind of thing is definitely more volatile. And you have to be able to know your time that's the biggest thing I've learned with investing, is to know you're putting money in, know your time frame is so important, because if you're planning long term, these will all even out eventually, hopefully. But it's a risk. It's risk versus reward, right? But it's easier, like if you're having, like what MC says, if you're having excuse me, if you have individual stocks, you're going to definitely see a lot more volatility, even in something that's relative, well, especially now, right? This last year, I don't think it matters what you bought. You're probably not in the there's a good chance you're in the red for a lot of people. And it's easy. It seems like it's easier on an individual stock to like panic, and possibly sell and lose track of your long-term plan. And that's what you have to, I think, learn, is to really stick with your plan. Adjust it if you need to along the way, but stick with your time frame, especially, to know. Perception of a dollar amount return loss and percentage return can be hard to manage a portfolio ledger, i.e. 5% on 100. Yes. I would love if I had to manage $1 million portfolio of my own, but then at that point I would probably, like you kind of say, is shift it into other things that are a bit easier to manage. Yeah. But that's what I've even noticed with mine. I mean, everybody sees my portfolio, but you get too many things in there, and you can't necessarily always take advantage of when you see certain things you want to take advantage of, and you can't always do it with certain shares that are dropped down, because you just don't have, you really have to keep an eye on the allocations of everything that you kind of wanted at. And it's work. It's definitely work. And then there's never enough. We always need more cash. There's never enough. There's never enough cash. But that's just the way it goes. But these are always good. I love these streams and conversation. You can always learn a few things. That's the best part about that. And learning from people in the community it's been invaluable. I do appreciate everybody that has jumps on these live streams, leaves comments on a video about anything. I find it really interesting, and I find it really helpful. I've definitely learned a lot over the last, it's almost, in April it'll be 2 years. So you learn from mistakes along the way, and you learn from it, move on, and carry forward, and don't stop. I guess the secret is not to be. I think a lot of people, if there's times like now, get scared, right? You might, and again, if you, like we said, dealing with a smaller portfolio, individual stocks, it's not for everybody. And if prices are down, like let's take CIBC for example, down what we said 19% this year. If that was you'd be seeing that and going like, what am I doing? But I think if you step back and carry on, it'll work out for everybody in the long run. But it's learning that along the way, and it's nice. Well, it's nice, not nice to see when everything's down, but if you see it, like watching other people and learning about other people's investments, like online, YouTube, or reading about it, it's nice to see you're not necessarily alone, and everybody has these same struggles or what have you with your investments, or other people have bought things that have gone down. You're not the only one, I guess, is kind of where I'm getting at it with people. So it's kind of fun to share that, so people know they're kind of not they're not the only ones that may be down on something. You always think you might think it's always easy, and you see these certain stocks that go crazy, but a lot of times people have been in them for a long time. You just at the right place eventually for things that have just, it just had panned out and come back up. I mean, Shopify, for example, right? Went way down, and then obviously going, what did we say? Just looking at the comment, going back up, it's like, what did it? It's doubled in 6 weeks. So that's the hard part. And I'm not a trader. I'm more of a buy and holder, but that's the hard part. You have to kind of really start to dig in and learn to try and maybe take advantage of certain things as they appear. But that's investing. There's no like, it's not a straight line. It always seems like it's like this, and like goes backwards and up and down and all around. And there's just sometimes things just don't make sense, right? Things like what we're in now really isn't like anything we've seen in my investing time frame. And I think a lot of people are like that too, high inflation. It's such a weird time. And it's been like that for the last, 3 years now. It's just been weird. Which makes it difficult. Before I got on that tangent, I was talking about Tesla and wanting to I do want to build up the CDR of Tesla, just slowly to add to that. There is Tesla in VFV as well, but on that note, there was yesterday was Elon was out, and they've finally started shipping their semi truck, their electric semi truck, which looks interesting. I watched the presentation live stream on Twitter last night. They did a live stream kind of they've done the first delivery to PepsiCo, and they've done the first like shipment from that kind of thing. So that will be interesting to see how that pans out. They didn't talk about what I found interesting. Like they're starting to deliver these trucks, but they haven't announced what the cost of them are for that. So it's hard to know whether it's going to be mass adoption for things. But it'll be interesting. That'll be kind of interesting to see how that transitions. They say they can do like a load from, I think they go on a full charge, towing a full load for what I got out of it, 500 miles. So whatever that is in kilometers, I have to convert that. 700 something. I could be wrong. Let me Google that, so I'm not completely off the line. 804. So I said what, 700. So I was close. So about 800 kilometers on a charge. So it'll be interesting to see if we see more of these in shipping. That will be kind of hopefully good for the share price if they take off, right? That's the whole if. So yeah, you were right. 800, just over 800. I think 804.66, 804.672 if we want to go exactly according to Google. Anyways, and Justin, congratulations. That's great. So you passed your CSC exam. That's great. Now job interviews. That's good. So now you can, if you've passed your securities, you should be keeping busy. Hopefully. I have a friend that his wife did that. Oh gosh, it's a few years ago now, and it was pretty. Yeah. So she was happy about that, and she works with a financial advisor company now, so she's doing good. You'll get it. I think you'll get a job, and I think that was actually one of the jobs that it picked up right in finance. So there you go. It's always good. Hopefully everything pans out. Get lots of money, high paying job, and then invest yourself too. It's good to hear, because I remember you were mentioning before you were studying for that. Studying's hard. I don't know how old you are, but studying's hard when you get older. So I can't say I'd be able to go and do a new. No, I'll never say never, but yeah, it's tough to study when you need to buckle down, and especially if you're doing other, like working another job or anything like that at the time, it can be very difficult. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough to restudy if you've been out of it for a long. If you've been if you've been out of it for a long time, especially, I don't think I could. I don't think I could do it. My attention span. If you do. There's a lot of good info on, like, stuff online though. I'm not saying that. I'm not. I'm not saying that what Justin's done is to trivialize that at all. I mean, that's hard, but there was a lot of good, and yeah, it's awesome. There's a lot of, like, different courses and stuff. Now, again, this is not talking. I'm not talking about securities courses or anything like that, but like courses to learn things for, for me, and kind of like video editing stuff, like that kind of stuff. There's lots of courses and stuff that you can find online for that are a bit easier than the securities test, I'm sure. Yeah, it makes sense. Not pay for education at this point. Work for money, then pay to learn. Yeah. And so there you go, mid-30s, 3-year-old, 8-month-old. So I'd say you're busy. That's so good. That's good. That's nice to hear. And the MC's more cash is wondering what you're applying to want to do. That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, that's so good. So there we go. Yeah, that's nice. I haven't studied anything and probably, like, formally studied in, it's been a long time. Couldn't tell you the last time. 15 years or more, something like that, having to do something. Wouldn't be able to do it. Not today. That's awesome. That's so good. Anyways, we're over halfway through the stream, so we'll do a channel update. Might as well give a quick plug to make sure that everybody remembers tomorrow and I'm getting this right this time, tomorrow, Saturday. Yeah, I haven't. It's funny I haven't. I do use Adobe products, but I haven't looked at Adobe. I use it every day, not just on the creative, on the creative side, like for photography and for my, like, I edit, not the live streams, but video editing is done on Adobe Premiere. But my photos are all on Adobe Lightroom, which is the photography, like storing pictures, editing pictures, that kind of thing. And it has cloud storage, and I pay every month for that. But I also do, like, for work and stuff, I do use the Adobe. I'm on with PDFs and, like, all that kind of stuff. I use that a lot too. I haven't really looked at it. I'd have to maybe I should get Candace to do a deep dive on Adobe and see if it's worthwhile or not. But no, I haven't looked into that. I'm gonna assume that Adobe is part of, probably. I bet you it's in VFE. I've got a frog in my throat today. Let's just see if it's in VFE or not. So maybe I do have a little bit, but I have to search. Let's just search here and find out. Sometimes the Amazon Alphabet. Oh, I have to export them all. Let's see. I wish they would display. I have to just download a whole everything is cloud. That's the thing. It's like everything now is subscription based, which drives me crazy because it's expensive. It's very expensive. Let me search this and see if Adobe is in there. It's got to be Adobe. It is in there. It's I can't pull this up because it's a spreadsheet. It's 0.045% of VFE. So I do own a little bit of Adobe. But the subscription, like this is the thing. I mean, I'm doing the saving thing, this right there with StreamYard, like all these subscription based stuff. It blows my mind how expensive it gets when you break it down. Because with Adobe especially, you used to be able to just have one program, you buy it. Ideally, you don't steal, but you'd buy it, and then would update, be in your computer, and you're done. And I had an old Adobe Acrobat program that I used for years and years and years, which I bought, and it worked great because editing PDFs, that kind of stuff I had to do for work at the time, and it was perfect, worked great. And then what happened is and this is partially Apple's fault, but when they switched, as computers get updated and upgraded, the new versions no longer work with old versions of software, right? That's just what happens. But of course, Adobe smartened up and made the new versions subscription. So I've had to have a Adobe subscription. Obviously, you can get cheaper, different subscriptions with Adobe. Like if you only needed Adobe Acrobat, there's a free version, but you can't do a lot with it. Not to bore people with PDFs and stuff like that, but there's different things you can do with a paid program that you can't do with the free program, and like reducing file sizes and editing them and a lot more stuff. It also has like e-signatures and that kind of stuff in it. But on the creative side, you used to be able to have Premiere, and you bought it and it would upgrade and you'd be fine and you'd be good to go. But now it's subscription, and it can be it's pricey. I mean, I think I pay it's close to $80 a month for that. So good on Adobe. I should look at that. I will remind Candace, and maybe she's not watching, but I will remind her when I talk to her or message her to do a deep dive on Adobe. That might be one. Might be one to watch. That's good. So we'll see. Here we go. So on that note, we are coming up towards the end here. So for people that are sticking around, I will say it one last time. Or so I guess I should say that for the first time, make sure you like the stream, hit the like button before you head out. But there is product. Yes, there is product you can buy that start off. Good call on that. You can get stuff or a discount or 3 months free, that kind of stuff. As you buy new things. You're very, very true. It's the problem when you're continuing on as a customer. Each year it doesn't get any cheaper. It doesn't seem like, but anyways, no, hit the like button. We'll have that live stream tomorrow with Candace talking about all things YouTube. So talking about our channels, talking about like what happens behind the scenes. I know that if people have questions like that, kind of we'll go down that road, marketing, but I'm sure we will talk about investing at some point. It will inevitably come up. We'll probably talk about the products we use to edit our videos. So obviously I use Adobe. Candace uses a different software program called Final Cut Pro. So there's a lot of different stuff we'll talk about. So if people have questions and they want to jump on and just ask us, what happens like behind the scenes, and we can also hopefully give a few tips to other people that have their own channel, because there's hopefully some of the other creators will be able to join on and have that conversation. Looking forward to it. So it should be fun, something a little different to talk about. Definitely look for that. And on this channel, I will finally get to, as long as the power stays on today, I do a portfolio update. I will also do my dividend update because we're in December now and I've had the November dividends all be paid. So I will update the spreadsheet, get that up on the channel as well. So looking forward to that, getting my backlog of videos brought back up to date so people can watch. So that's all I had. If everybody just really appreciate it, and we'll see you at the live stream tomorrow. Hopefully you can make some time out of your day on a Saturday to join us, and that's 10 o'clock Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern time, and it will be a lot of fun. So be sure to be here. Yes, make sure you're there at least, Candace. We'll see how it goes. So we'll hopefully we'll have some new people to come by the channel, hopefully, and go back and forth. Maybe there's a few people that watch here that might not have watched Candace's stuff. So we'll see what happens. I've never done a live stream on the weekend, so we'll see who's around. Don't go shopping and just watch the live stream instead. Save some money. There we go. That's it, everybody. Have a good rest of your Friday. I got to get to work now, and then we'll catch you all in the next one. But let's just have a bit of fireplace at the end, and we'll relax into that as we sign off. Thanks, everybody.